Welcome to the instructional part of the video. You can get tabs and backing tracks if you go to my website, www.erichaugenguitar.com. For information about the sound tools I'm using today, go ahead and click on the description box underneath in your YouTube player. And for access to exclusive live streams, worksheets, and other quick tip video lessons, you can find me on Patreon/ErichHaugenGuitar. Now to the lesson. The background that we're playing over is really just two chords. It's really just C, E minor. So I was immediately like, well, that's easy. I'm not going to even go chord bass for this. I'm going to go minor scale bass, and for whatever reason, I dropped in there with a drony B thing, which is kind of interesting and ominous friction against the C. So if that was my first idea, which I'm sliding in from 2 to 4 on that G, up to 7, that's the first lick. Now let's notice a couple of things about that. Notice the confidence of the rhythm. So that's definitely one thing to file away for, like, when you're trying to make a solo that really entertains an audience. You want the rhythm to just be really clear. It's something that I think all of my heroes are good at. It doesn't even mean that they're fast. It doesn't mean anything other than that. It just means that they said what they meant to say. There's some nice repetition there. And then I'm kind of keeping that feel going and picking some other interesting drony notes. There's my second phrase, which to me is a nice continuation of the first phrase, which is, again, part of successful guitar soloing. I am on the 7th fret of the B, which is an F sharp, which is another interesting note in that key. Letting that high E play around. Backing it off down to E and D, which is, 5 and 3. Kind of just working that. So to me, those two phrases work together. And rhythmically, they're similar. So it's a very, I was going for a drony and melodic, while at the same time being rhythmic and aggressive kind of thing. I think I accomplished that. Oh yeah, I guess I do bend it, by the way. And then I'm like, let's keep the drony going. And notice I'm kind of like moving up in dominant tones, because if the first kind of dominant tone was there, and then I'm going to play around with. Notice I'm up, up, up. So that's another principle. You tend to start low and spacious, work your way up to be high and dense. That's not always what you want to do, but it works. What's that quote from Anchorman? I can't remember. 90% of the time it works, 100% of the time, the Paul Rudd character. But yeah, it works a lot of the time. To just kind of, you're building it up. It's kind of like it's a Star Wars. It's the story. This is, you got to fight this guy, you meet this guy, and then there's this big battle here, and then everybody's happy. Are they happy, though? So that little drony bit there, the next phrase, 0 and 7. 5 and 5. Again, 8, 7, 5, and that's on our B string. So another thing to notice about this, which I actually realize all the lessons I've been shooting lately kind of are starting to illustrate this other principle of, yes, there's scales this way, but also I find it for my playing that it's helpful to see the same scale. To see a scale across the fretboard this way if you want to be able to connect things. Both of them are useful. And I'm here, I'm like, well, let's go even higher still. That's the next lick. So a pre-bend on this, what is a D tone, then pushing up to E. That's our, oh, what are you? You are our 7th fret. Yeah. 5, 8, 5. And then working up, still droning with that high E. 10, 8, 10. And then I'm getting up to our, yes, now we're really burning up the fretboard. Notice I'm going higher and higher. Everything though is, yeah, working up to some sort of ultimate lick. Hopefully. Let's see if we get there. Then we got 12, slide it to 15, 12, and this to me was actually my favorite lick in the solo. That's Robbie Krieger. That's Doors. I mean, you'll hear him do that in Peace Frog and some other songs that kind of like just, whoa. I don't know, having like a bend to a bend to a bend has a pretty profound effect on the audience. You know, that's you want to talk about like the experience of melting faces. That for some reason will trigger that kind of like. I don't know why it has that kind of ooh. But anyway, what that is, small bend on the 14, down to 12, 15 to 12, 14 to 12, you know, it's blues. One of my favorite notes to add, though, the minor note, again, this F sharp, I talk about this in other videos. The F sharp is the Bermuda Triangle note of E minor. People forget it's there because it's kind of behind, but it's such a good note. And then I'm like, oh, what a beautiful lick. Where am I now? I need to really start filling in the space more. I need more sound coming out of my guitar. Now, I'm not a terribly fast guitar player, so I always kind of set what I call a speed governor in my head before I take a solo that, like, if is my groove. I'm like, I know I can land that, and yeah, I can. I could probably get 16th notes, but like in a real life situation, that's going to turn to gibberish with drums and bass and cymbals unless you're just so good. And hey, you might be. I'm not. I know that I can only play so fast, so I find it so much safer to just go, this is how fast I am going to go. And I'm going to work within that very sturdy and reliable framework. So, yeah, for me, instead of playing faster, I put more notes in. More attack, more sound. So that's, again, harmonizing a minor scale. 11, 10, 12, 12. Down to, yeah, which, you know, that ends up being an E minor. 9, 8 with that open one. All right, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I got a lot of sound coming out of my guitar. I got a lot of notes. I got sturdy rhythm. Let me go high now. So yeah, I'm just working my way up. You know, I guess this is ultimately rooted in kind of cheesy 80s soloing, but it works for a variety of genres. So we're still taking the same idea of now. I'm giving it basically everything I got attack-wise. I'm just digging in. I'm hitting. Just don't stop strumming, but don't strum too fast. And I am thinking, what is that? 16, 15. And a little kind of secondary phrase slides back and forth. 10, 12. And then I was like, all right, I need more highness. You know, I need something really, really big to end this. I don't know where that came from. It kind of reminds me, I don't know what. So I can't attribute that, but I'm definitely thinking of going higher. So this is interesting. I got the 14 of the G going up. Pinky is pedaled or locked down on that 15 of the high E, and I'm still, yeah, letting that beat in. And yeah, I'm actually using sixes to get out of it. Yeah, really putting a lot of vibrato and a lot of intensity to it because, hey, that's the end of the solo. You want the people to clap and go, woo! So that's the last lick, and then, yeah, so 14, 14, 12, and 12. There you go. All right, let's review. Step 1, set that speed governor. Determine the tempo of the song and know what notes you'll comfortably be able to land confidently, because as I said in the lesson portion, you'd be surprised at what you can do by yourself in your room that you cannot do in front of an audience. Next, think with repetition, obviously, and very confident rhythm, because the one thing you would want to avoid is kind of, did I mean that note? I don't know if I meant that. I don't know. You don't want almost, I guess, at least for this style of like really upfront soloing, you don't want to dynamically kind of mumble. If it was a different kind of jazzy or subtle thing, well, yeah, that would be appropriate. And then the main principle of like, you start low and spacious, and you kind of work up to your various positions until you're up high and intense. Now that requires a couple of things. That requires knowing your scales, in the usual 5 positions of pentatonic that we all suffer through. But I also think it's useful to learn them, across the fretboard that way. That is my wisdom for you. Good luck.